We're not ready.
It's okay, I'm stalling.
Okay, start
We
again.
met.
Replay.
I met our next performer about a year and a half ago. One of our shows. She had drifted in from the Brighton night, and I don't mean she's homeless. I just mean she'd not come in for the warmth. She'd come to perform. She came in. She does a story. It was quite shockingly lurid, wasn't it? About, that Greek guy. But these things happen. I'm not saying, there's no judgment.
No, it didn't
There's
happen.
no judgment. It didn't happen. That's okay. That's okay. She's tittering, which means it did. But the room really loved her. We went to see more of her work, speak to her more, and then became a sort of little part of Bovine, little corner of Bovine, which Chris and I and the rest of us truly adore. Let's give a huge Brighton Friday evening welcome to the star of radio, Jilliana Ranicar-Breese, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Jilliana.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jilliana Ranicar-Breese, author of Jilliana's vignettes, and all my stories are true. Honest. And this one is called Up and Down. The mind boggles. You got it. I mistakenly thought I was in love with my Italian lover, a handsome man with an aquiline nose of 69 in 2013, who looked 10 years younger, without a single grey hair and all his teeth. I was blind to his zillions of faults, like his financial and spiritual meanness, his loathing of Italians, how he despised the arrogant French, and too many Muslims in Turkey, so he wouldn't travel there. Despite speaking good Italian, he never once complimented me on my advanced Italian conversation, only speaking to me twice in Italian on the phone when I was away in Rome. Franco mentally abused me, putting me down, asking me why I had let myself go after having seen black and white sexy photos of me on my computer. He commented that I looked like Raquel Welch, that was a compliment, and how we could have had children together had we met in the late 60s. I won't say how old I am. One evening he arrived at my flat and, as usual, took off his shoes and sat at my computer watching explicit porno to get himself into the mood for sex. A frustrated, impotent man who refused to see a doctor or take the Viagra I had bought him. But to me, he was so good looking, with a beautiful body and silky skin I loved to touch. He was unaffectionate too, certainly not a passionate Romeo, Latin lover, but a cold intellectual from Verona. What the hell was I doing with a man who slept with not one but 3 duvets at night, and even went down the bottom of the bed to face the other way? I tell you, this is all true, by the way. I wouldn't make up a thing like that. A man who sat at my computer screen in front of an excellent photo I had taken of him in Amsterdam, who spoke to his own image on the screen saying, "I am good looking." commented, "On the outside, but not on the inside." Silence was his reply. He knew deep down what an insincere, narcissistic shit he was. At my suggestion and expense, we had a long weekend in Amsterdam, even visiting the interesting sex museum. I had my photo taken sitting in a gigantic phallic wooden carved seat and I've got the photograph, and ran my fingers over bronze peni in the shape of a freestanding bronze sculpture chalice. It's on my iPad. He seemed to blame me for being impotent. I suggested we look for a slim blonde, non-tarty looking prostitute in the famous red light district and see if he could get it up for her. It was a warm, balmy Saturday evening, and the district was chock-a-block with punters and tourists all looking for pussy. No men in the windows for us ladies. A few obviously outrageous Latino transvestites completed the pictures in the windows. The women were all vulgar, scantily dressed in iridescent garish underwear or bikinis, sitting or gyrating in the neon-lit windows. Most looked like they came from Eastern Europe, looking hungry, and not, in our forensic opinion, sexy. Then I saw her in the window. Franco's fantasy woman was young, blonde, and slender, like a gazelle. In fact, he wanted me running around like a gazelle, despite having edema, which is water retention in my legs, making them very heavy. I was a middle-aged Rubenesque hippo with dyed medium-length amber hair parted in the middle, and not a matchstick Twiggy look-alike. Franco would sit for hours at my computer, transposing blonde film star hairstyles onto my photographic facial features, even asking me to cut my locks and go blonde. Pathetically showing my vulnerability, I asked him if he would love me more if I were a blonde, but he declined to answer. He considered me an alpha woman, loving my mind, so he said, but not my curvaceous, well-endowed body. He wanted me to lose weight and engage a personal trainer, at my expense of course, and be his fantasy woman, a blonde sylph. She didn't look like a slut. In fact, she was natural, with good skin, possibly about 30, with a charming smile and good teeth, who turned out to be Russian. She opened the glass door to inveigle him in to sample her wares. "Franco, come over," she cooed, beckoning him over. "How much?" I demanded, as I was his minder that evening. €40, back or front? No, just a hand or blow job. You can watch if you want. How long for? 20 minutes. But it's only going to take 10 for him to come. What do you do for the rest of the time? I inquired. I dance with feathers. She smiled knowingly, lowering her eyelids. Franco got cold feet, or should I say cold cock. Moved away with his tail, or useless cock between his legs. Her smile vanished instantly, shutting the glass door rapidly as there was no sale and she had wasted her valuable sexual time. Time is money, after all, in the oldest profession. We moved on and sat on a canal bench wondering what to do next. We had already looked at a display of sex toys, vibrators and dildos, and a couple of sex shops to no avail. I suggested a live sex show. He agreed in desperation, and so wasted €50 on entrance, including 2 beers, on a mechanical sex show on stage with 4 couples. In, out, shake it all about. So boring and oh, so non-erotic. All in all, we had an interesting weekend until he irritably snapped when I couldn't keep up with his fast walking pace. "You're 1 away from being a cripple," he announced. That made me cry. And later, back in Brighton, he mumbled, "What a shame the Russian hadn't shown me what to do so I could be more experienced on the job." "Do you realise what you've just said to me?" I said, astonished at his cruelty. "Yes, a shame you didn't watch her," he retorted. Franco had to go. I'd had enough of his snarky insults and mental abuse. I cut my hair and went blonde, well, at the moment it's green, in the front, but he never saw my metamorphosis. Yes, he was right. I looked more attractive as a blonde, and I've been a blonde ever since. That was in the spring of 2013. I have avoided him, but unfortunately our paths have crossed 4 times in Brighton. He scurries away like the rat that he is. However, I still ask myself the lingering question, would it have been up for her?
Every time.